If you haven't seen it yet, you gotta check out this amazing video from SpaceX. Their SN-15 Starship prototype just landed on its feet, and it was incredible. They launched the prototype, it went up into the sky, it shut off its engines, and then it performed this amazing maneuver where it belly flops all the way back down to the ground till it gets to about 10 meters or so, and then it fires its engines, flips right back up on its feet, and lands gently. This is what Elon Musk envisions that interplanetary travel will look like. Earlier this year, SpaceX's CEO confirmed a shocking NASA Spaceflight.com report that the company was also working to launch Starship into orbit by July 2021. The achievement of which would be nothing short of miraculous. Less than 2 months later, SpaceX has submitted a request for FCC permission to communicate with Starship and Super Heavy before and during an inaugural orbital test flight. It's scheduled for no earlier than June 2020. Oddly, the FCC application indicates some truly unusual plans relative to the rest of SpaceX's intensive Starship test and launch campaign. In short, Starship's first orbital launch attempt aims to send an expendable prototype into space for a brief 90-minute one-orbit space flight. If everything goes according to plan, which is far from guaranteed, that Starship prototype will perform a soft ocean landing 100 kilometers off the coast of Hawaii, back in the Gulf of Mexico. SpaceX's first flight where the Super Heavy booster will launch much like Falcon 9, separate from the Starship, perform a flip and boost back burn towards Texas, and land approximately 20 miles from the shore. SpaceX says that the FCC STA request is meant to authorize Starship test vehicle communications from the launch pad at Boca Chica, Texas, and the experimental recovery operation following the launch, but makes no reference to recovery assets in the Gulf of Mexico, leaving it up in the air whether the first flown Super Heavy will be recovered or also perform a soft ocean landing. To maximize speed, choosing not to attempt to recover the first orbit-proven Starship is a logical choice for SpaceX, especially given that a fully successful orbital launch, coast, and re-entry on the first attempt is quite a tall order. Super Heavy, however, will be performing a maneuver virtually identical to the Falcon booster landings that SpaceX has aced 75 plus times over in the last 5 years now. Notably, in an included timeline of events for the orbital launch, SpaceX refers to Super Heavy's landing as a, quote, touchdown, where Starship's, quote, soft ocean landing is referred to as a splashdown, raising hopes that the booster will attempt to land on an unspecified platform a few dozen miles off the Texas coast. Given SpaceX's requested operation start date on June 20th, we won't have to wait long to find out. At the moment, SpaceX has yet to even begin stacking the first flight-worthy Super Heavy booster prototype, so that net June 20th target is far more likely to slip into July or August. Regardless, an orbital Starship launch of any kind before the end of 2021 would be nothing short of an engineering and program management tour de force for SpaceX. If you know anything about me, you know I'm a gamer, and one of my favorite all-time games is Grand Theft Auto 5. Yes, it has a lot of bad subject matter, and no, I'm not going to let my child play it till she's 32 years old, but man, have they put a lot of work into this game, and it looks fantastic. One of the more impressive aspects of the game is how closely the game's San Andreas approximates real-life Los Angeles and Southern California. But a new machine learning project from Intel Labs called Enhancing Photorealism Enhancement, brought to you by Carl's Jr., might push it towards photorealism. Putting the game through the process, researchers produced a surprising result, a visual look that has unmistakable similarities to the kinds of photos you might casually take through the smudged front window of your car. You have to see it in motion to really appreciate it, but the combination of slightly washed out lighting, smoother pavement, and believably reflective cars just sells the fact that you're looking at the real street from a real dashboard, even if it's really all virtual. The Intel researchers suggest some of the photorealism comes from the data sets they fed their neural network. The group offers a more in-depth and thorough explanation for how image enhancement actually works in their paper if you want to check it out online, but as I understand it, the Cityscapes dataset that was used, built largely from photographs of German streets, filled in a lot of the detail. It's dimmer and from a different angle, but it almost captures what I imagine a smoother, more interactive version of scrolling through Google Maps Street View could be like. It doesn't entirely behave like it's real, but it looks very much like it's built from real things. The researchers say their enhancements go beyond what other photorealistic conversion processes are capable of by also integrating geometric information from GTA 5 itself. Those G buffers, as they call it, can include data like the distance between objects in the game and the camera, and the quality of textures like the glossiness of cars. Photorealism probably shouldn't be the only graphical goal for video games to have, but this Intel Labs project does show there's probably as much room to grow on the software side of things as there is in the raw GPU power of new consoles and gaming PCs.